I thought I was going to wait till the morning to do this because you know how it is when you go to sleep at night. I wake up with it's I watched a little short video of well, it wasn't that short. When I mean short, there were pieces of information. I look for when I hear people speak, communicate. Um, it's like I'm looking for when they speak to me. It's like information that's running through a server, and you understand how programs run, right? SIM cards, all that kind of stuff, right? So if you notice the last couple of videos, I've talked about clearing. The servers are speeding up. That means more light is coming through here, and that what happens is that clears the memory-driven programs, program apps, Google Play apps, and density apps, electrical density. I used to call them food density networks. It's what they are. But anyway, Kim Goguen had. I listened to again. I'm led to go see this because I'm supposed to see this, so it'll lift my spirit, warm my heart. Sort of what I've known since I was a little kid, and other things that I mentioned about Dolores Cannon, cross indexes, God sending His first line troops, God's warriors. Yes, that's a heart warrior. And Kim Goguen in her latest little video mentioned a lot of things that we've all been echoing forever, it seems like, right? It's the same message. Love is the law. Love is what heals us. Right? Now you remember who you are. Now you remember who created the first universe. Now you know your creator, the grand creator. An eternal love vibration. So I've said this before, but Patty was the first one I heard it through other than myself because I know this forever. When she said, the folks upstairs were talking about you got to know one from the other. I'm going, yeah, that's true, you do. Otherwise, you're the other. Okay, right? You're the other magnet, the EAI. And so Kim sort of covered that. She did that was a pretty nice presentation, you know. And there's a lot of what an operative word is. There's like little words that I know that are operative that you can cross-index through the whole circulation library held in the planetary memory banks. And she talked about her energy being balanced. I can do things males do. I can do female. All right. So I'm androgynous, an oversoul polarity integrator. So it's a major cleanup job. So she talked about volunteers that came in here. That's exactly right. We do not normally experience this stuff where I'm from. We run the purest of light there is. Remember I mentioned that when I was a little kid? I'm not supposed to experience anything less than pure light, which is pure unconditional love, which is absolute love. All right? And that's exactly what it feels like. And I know because I've been in here, particularly with a lot of girls that I've been around, they have never been loved that way. And you know how I can know that? Because I can read their heart. I can read the resistance they hold in their heart. Because if you have no resistance, you're experiencing not holding on to one electron, which means you've let go of everything that you've ever feared, you've ever experienced, or represented trauma. Because if you got it in your record, I'll read it. And pure light can do that, which means you expose any darkness. That's right, and that's what happens. So when you're a little kid, you're exposing all the darkness. So I went for a wild ride, right? And reported back. This place is bad. How did I remember I talked about that? How could anything have ever gotten this bad? And that's, remember what I said? That's looking at me. I had to look at me. Right? So it's like the God within my heart and soul. Okay? It's the same God I see in the mirror. So everything that I am, which is what love is what's in my mirror. It's the same thing. That's a pure light mirror. Which means there is no darkness. The light is always on 100% of the time. So you are always experiencing what love is, wherever you go. That's how it is there. That's where I came from. And that's why I didn't think I could function in here when I was a little kid. You know, because there was so much of it everywhere. There just wasn't a lot of folks that were experiencing being loved and feeling love in their heart. So she did a good job of explaining that, but so I wanted to thank her for stuff that's up there, because the biggest dittos and all that is sort of the same thing when I talked about over on the portal, right? I've been saying this for years. It's over. We're ending Star Wars. It's done. It's a done deal. Patty said many years ago, it's game over. It's game over. We're ending Star Wars. Star Wars is a program app. It's called running a program. That's right, which means you're not creating anything of your own out of what love is. And that's what it started with, because that's what I am, so I know what I'm connected with. So I always speak through that language, through my heart, which is to tell the truth, because love is the truth, because love is the absence of fear to tell it. And that's why when Kim talked about, because I know how it is to feel this when I cried for 4 days in a motel room, when I was experiencing how much trauma there was. So I knew I was communicating home, and I was sending the strongest message home, that we have to end this. This is too painful. You know what I'm saying? This is too painful. So I know if it's too painful for me, it's got to be too painful for my creator that brought me into creation with my soul, okay? So it's like, if I wouldn't do this, why would that which loves me do that? So it's too much pain. That's way too much pain. Because it means I experience what all that pain is, which means that's me. So now you're back to fear. Remember, I did a video on this. I'm looking in my mirror going, you know what happened? God went from love and then looked in the other mirror and feared what he saw. That's exactly what happened. Because I know that. I'm with that God, that eternal God. That's why I can light myself on fire, which is the eternal spirit of fire. That's as pure light as it gets. That means you know home. Ever since I was a little kid, I'm always at home base. So it's like having a tether. It's like the biggest ass anchor. When you're an oversoul polarity integrator, the rod comes in, right? And it's like God came in and said, it's over. Now I'm here. Remember I said that? God's here. An eternal God is here. So that means we can pull it all in. Right? But you don't want to burn anybody up. So she mentioned that about incrementally over time, you're going to begin to experience a lot of light, because I've been measuring this since I was a little kid. Okay? When you compress time and space, and then you uncoil the movie and play it, go with the flow of the movie. And then it's like an off-road course, a road map in the universe. And you got to play dodgeball, because there are booby traps everywhere of things trying to attach themselves to you and like a monkey on your back, right? Drag you down, right? And so it really is, because I'm not going to lie to nobody. It's two things that I know that I've learned. How much fire you got in you is going to determine how much light you got in you, because that's going to determine how pure that light is, which is absolute love. And I know that because that's what I feel in my heart, and that's what I give away for free forever and always. And that's how I sign my canvas. And that's why I've always known, when Kim even mentioned that, the phones were meant to be a distraction so that you're not with God creating something of your own free spirit. She talked about will. I know what it seems like I've covered the alphabet soup of inverted languages and letter traps and numbers traps and how that works to reversal currents and fire letters and all that, because that's one of the reasons why when I was a child, I realized live through your heart. Okay? We don't use our energy, which is what love is, the way they use their energy. You open up your heart shield, which is the planetary shield, the galactic shield, the universal shield, the shield of one. That's a rod, the first rod. All right? The first creation. And so when you realize you're in a spiritual battlefield against the forces of darkness, right? Then you realize what it's for. You're in an energy war, which is a spiritual war, which is determined who's more powerful. Okay, death or life, because that's what fear and love is. Being in fear of what love is holding on to energy. And God does not hold on to any energy. What do you want? Now that you're running on eternal love energy, it means whatever you're creating and manifesting is automatically what love is, which means nothing bad is going to happen. See, removing all the fear programs. That's a complete clearance. That's experiencing pure light in consciousness. That's what we're supposed to be experiencing, actually. That's what I experience. So I know what the law is. Right? Love is a law, which is eternity, which is eternal spirit of fire. So that was beautiful to be able to hear what she had to say, that, I just look for certain things. We're right on the same page. Love tells no lies. That's the beauty of it. Love always knows what's going on. All you got to do is ask what love is, what's going on. And you will get the answer. You'll get the truthful answer, because God hears your heart. Right? And I make it simple, much like Alcoholics Anonymous. You can call it Prime Creator, Grand Creator. I've known since I was a little kid. I know it by the energy. So I describe it by energy, in energy terms, which is an eternal love vibration. It's a vibration never stops loving you. And that's why you're always forgiven. But you got to remember what she said in that. And I mentioned that, what I did with me, and I share with all of you. And what was that? You have to learn to forgive yourself first. Otherwise, you can't release all your energy, because you live in fear of doing that. Because it's easy to fall in that. What were the words she used? Guilt and shame. That's true. I've felt that. That's why when I did my 4th step in Alcoholics Anonymous, I had to dump it all out. This is me. I experienced all this. These were my choices, what I fell into. Right? So I had to forgive me first. And then I made amends to others. And that helps heal them, because they realize that you were living in honor and being in truth with yourself. You're being honest with yourself. You've got to be honest with yourself. You can't lie to yourself, because you can't lie to God, because God is what love is. Right? And when you're getting honest with yourself, that's what it's always about. I can't get honest in myself not being somebody else, but I can get honest being with me, because I know from whence I began, where I came from. I know what love is. I know what absolute love is. I know what true love is, which is the same as unconditional love, which means it doesn't cost you anything to experience it. God loves you for free and forever. So that's me. So I'm like a little kid that's lit on fire, but at the same time can go right deeply into my heart and be right there and calm and turn the motor off and just feel being loved. Just feel the love that you feel within yourself, and letting every cell know in your body, I love you, little guys, all you elements, every single bit of you that is energy and consciousness, aware of what I am in spirit, is what love is. You guys all know me. You guys all know me. You've hung with me through this whole time. You have stuck with me this whole time. We went through a rough road together, but we're still here, baby. That love is a heart warrior. That love is a powerful spirit. That's an eternal spirit of fire. That's why we're here. She mentioned volunteers. That's right. I volunteered to come in here. I don't normally ever experience stuff like this. That's why when I was a little kid, this is an illusion. This does not exist. It's impossible for this to exist. Because you just came from a place where it doesn't exist. That's how you know the one. Right? So how did this happen? The idea is to figure it out and keep your heart shield up. God is always there. So you're never going to lose that connection. You won't lose that tether. Right? Remember I mentioned one time El Capitan in Yosemite National Park? See, I've already done it. Remember I mentioned that story? And what did I say? An anchor to that tree. The deepest root that's in that mountain. Which means I'm connected to the eternal root of an eternal spirit of love that's on fire to love you. And so I got nothing to worry about. I may fall, but I still got a way home. I'm not ever going to lose my home. I call that an anchor, just like a lifeguard is going to throw a life jacket out to you or a lifesaver. Hey, don't worry about it. There's always a lifeguard on duty. That's a guardian. That's one of God's direct angels. That's called God's angels. The first messenger. Remember the first fire station? I'm sending you folks out. I'm looking for some volunteers. I'm a full-time fire engine, so I don't need to volunteer. I'm gone. So that's what I do. That's why I do what I do. And I just share how beautiful it is to experience it. Because believe it or not, even though I came into this house of mirrors, right? What is that? The house of horrors, the house of mirrors, dark mirrors. Which one are you? Which one are you, man? I'm not with that. I'm not that mirror. No. So anyway, I was very happy to see that she came out with that. It's just cross collaboration. It means we're all getting the same message. It means we're on the same page. This is the end of wars. Yep. That's why I've been saying this. I said this to Logan Hoffman. Hey, buddy, you have no idea. This is the biggest celebration in the universe that's going on right now. Do you know that? This is actually the grandest celebration that there is. God was listening. God picked up the phone and said, okay, that's enough. That's as far as we go. Because I figure if that's as far as I would ever go, then I know that God's listening. Because I don't think that God has any more love than I do in my heart, which goes on forever. So in other words, if I wouldn't do it, God wouldn't do it. Because then God would say, wishing, you have more love in your heart than I do? Yes, I do. No, you don't. Show me. We're here. That's right, we're here. Now you know why we're here. Have a good evening. Be good to yourselves. We love you all.